Hey guys, how's it going? Omar here. Today I want to do a quick little video on how to restring and intonate your electric guitar. Now I'm sure some of you guys might be comfortable restringing your own guitars, and if you're just looking to intonate your guitar and tips on that, I'll put something in the description below with a little time code so you can just skip towards that. But today I'm going to be working on my Squier Telecaster, also known as my Star Wars guitar. Yeah, let's jump right in. Alright, so we're going to start by taking all the strings off the guitar. And by doing that, we're going to cut them off. But first you want to release some of the tension. So let's just detune this a bunch. This way they don't like snap off and hit you when you cut them. Just got some wire cutters here. Alright, so this guitar is a through body guitar. So that means that the strings go through the body and they come out on this side here. So I'm just going to take them out. I like to keep an empty beer bottle or pop can handy just so that you can kind of put them somewhere and they don't go flying everywhere. It's really easy, especially on the higher strings, to lose track of where they are. So now I've just got this, and this can just go straight in the recycling. This is a really good opportunity to wipe down your guitar under the strings where you normally wouldn't be able to. So I always try and do that. I'm just using a dry paper towel for now. But if you want to, you can get different oils and polishing stuff. D'Addario makes some that are really good, and Ernie Ball and Dunlop makes some as well, and I think they're like $10 a bottle. They're pretty cheap. I just don't have any on me. They're all at the studio. So next up, I'm going to be using these NYXLs. You can use whatever strings you want. It's kind of like picks. It's whatever brand or gauge you feel most comfortable using. That's what you should use. Although I will say, if you have been using the same gauge for, since you were 12, maybe experiment. They're not super expensive, and you never know what's out there, right? Just get that out of the way. So most of them will either have separate sleeves for the strings, or they'll have these little guides here. So I know that the low E is the brass tip. I don't know if you can see that. Brass tip, so we're gonna start with the low E. Go through the body. Now there's a few things that you want to make sure here. On this guitar, I really like these headstock, or these tuning knobs, because you can actually put the string into it and then fold it over, and it's a lot more secure than just going through like a regular standard hole. So that's really good because obviously it gives you a little more stability, although the downside is you can only cut it once. Whereas if you're going through the hole, then you're able to, if you need to have less wounds or more wounds, you can always just undo it a little bit, move the string, and do that accordingly. What we're aiming for is to have between 2 to 3 wounds around each peg. So there's different ways of guessing. Normally what I do is I start with this, maybe 4 fingers, and I try and align it. That's going on the 12th fret there. Try and align it there, and then we're gonna cut a little bit. Cut where I measured. This will go into that beer bottle. And then this will go into the hole. This is a lot easier if you have one of those winders, but again, I don't have them right here. On a standard tuning peg, you're going to want to feed the string through the hole, measure it the same way. Once you have your desired measured length, you're going to go to the tuning peg, and on the side that has the excess string, you're going to bend it 90 degrees. That'll keep it in place. Then you're going to want to tune it up until you get the right tension, and then cut the string, leaving about 2 to 3 millimeters. Another thing that's really important is to make sure that your strings are wrapping around the tuning peg in the right direction. So on a telly or strat style neck, all of your strings want to be on that side of the pegs, and I'll show you a picture of that. Whereas a Les Paul style guitar where there's 3 pegs on each side, they all want to be on the middle. And that's important for keeping the tension and keeping the tuning more stable, as is the amount of wounds around each string. One tip that I find really useful for restringing a guitar like this, with these kind of tuning pegs, obviously you have to cut it before, which can create some problems. So what I like to do is I use the remainder of the last string that I cut. So right now I'm working on the B string, and this is the remainder of the G string. So I got 2 rotations around the peg there, and that's kind of good. That's what I'm aiming for, maybe a little bit more. So I'm gonna line it up with the end of the B string, and we have to give it a little bit more space than what we gave for the G string because it has that little inch or so extra to go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up, and then we're gonna cut about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches away from where those 2 pieces lined up. So now this goes into my B string hole. We're gonna bend it, and we're gonna start turning. What I like to do as well, regardless of the tuning pegs, is I pull with these 2 fingers, I push down with this finger, and that just kind of keeps it in place as I'm tuning it up. Just popped out there. So that gave us just about 2.5, which is what we're looking for. When I'm done stringing up a string, I like to try and push all the rotations, all the wounds up as close as possible, because that way when you're bending the string or you're trying to stretch the string, you don't have to worry about that. It's as tight as it can be. Also, this guitar has a string tree up at the top for the B and the E string. That's to help with the tuning, and you'll see it on a bunch of different kinds of guitars. On my Godin, I have 2 string trees, so definitely something to keep in mind. You got to make sure that the string goes under there. I'm just going to do this E, and I'll be right back. So I have all the strings on the guitar. It's relatively in tune. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through one by one and all the strings, and we're going to stretch them. That way they're going to be able to stay in tune. I already stretched the E string, so let's move to the B string. What I do is I place my left hand down high up on the neck, try and hold down, and then I pull up on the string with my right hand. And as I pull, I kind of move my way down the neck. And then we're gonna check the tuning. And do it again. Alright, so I've stretched the strings on this guitar a bunch, and it's holding tune relatively well. So we're ready to intonate. We're going to need a tuner. Right now I've got the clip-on tuner, the Snark one. And you're going to need a screwdriver and Allen key. That kind of depends on your bridge. This bridge is notoriously really bad for intonating because instead of having separate saddles for each string, these are the saddles here, 2 strings will share 1 saddle. So when intonating this guitar, you kind of have to find the middle ground between the 2 strings that share the 1 saddle. So what we're going to want to do is you want to play your open string. We're going to start with our E here. That's in tune. And then you're going to want to fret the 12th fret and play that. So I'm not sure if you could hear that properly, but that was a little bit sharp. If the 12th fret reading is sharp, you're going to want to move the saddles further towards the bridge, and if the 12th fret reading is flat, you're going to want to move it further towards the neck. So let's just make a little adjustment here. To move the saddle back, you're going to want to turn it in a clockwise form. So I just did a few rotations there. We're gonna turn this way if you don't know what clockwise is, I guess. Do a couple more. Then we need to retune. Gonna tune the B string as well. There we go, it's in tune. I'm gonna show you guys my Godin because the bridge is probably a little more similar to what you guys have at home. Let's check that out. All right, so this is my Godin session. So as you guys can probably see, there's 6 saddles here instead of the 3 saddles. Makes it a little bit easier to be more accurate with your intonation. Let's again start with the E string. That's in tune. Then we're gonna want to play the 12th fret. Now this time it's flat. Again, if it's flat, we're gonna wanna move the saddle upwards, right? So in order to do that, we need to take the screwdriver, turn it in a counterclockwise form, retune. That's just about in tune. Alright guys, that's just about it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments on the video. I hope you found it useful. Obviously there's different ways of going about restringing and intonating your guitar, but this is just the way that I've done it over the past 15 years. It served me well, and I hope that it helps you. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Thanks guys.